Hello and welcome back to my F125 modded career mode. If you haven't seen part 0, I highly recommend you go check it out because it shows all the modded liveries and the changes we've made to the game for this first season and our debut today. See the massive driver changes, or you may go check it out because obviously Lewis Hamilton is without a seat. Not retired, just without a seat, which again, I still can't believe. And heading into our debut, obviously a lot of change. You see that rain is now forecasted for our first race, which obviously I'm not too sure about if I'm supposed to be excited for or not, but definitely something different to look forward to. Definitely a challenge that I'm ready to face. So obviously heading into our first practice session in the F1 car, making our debut obviously this season at Australia. We're going to do some tests to get some resource points to help build the car and make it better over the season. You see that George Russell in our very first lap very questionably being very slowing down on the first turn, which I'm a little surprised by. You see as a whole lap was basically been ruined because we was trying to do a qualifying run, and obviously we have that massive moment that's going to cost us dearly. And we see on the replay now we're trying to send it as much as we can, try and catch up with the time lost on George Russell. You see a massive moment, we catch it and save it, but that moment from Russell really questioned me. I'm thinking, what is he doing? Coming out of the pits and then basically stop on the apex. But never mind, we're moving on. We'll have to leave that behind us, try and get out of our mind. I'm going on to a tyre management program now to help us build our tyre management over the course of the year and the session. You see that Lawson is now holding us up yet again. So a second car in this session already holding us up dearly. Obviously, coming across the line on our second lap, the time loss to Lawson cost us quite a lot. So obviously, let's do a second lap, which you see the difference already here. How much actually saved in tyre life. So this will help us build over each session, each race weekend, to help us build into the weekend. As you see from a few of the POVs from the other rookies that are making their debut this weekend as well. You see that Paul Aaron in the Aston Martin making his debut, and you see that Ollie Behrman, our former F2 rival for the championship, last time out in F2 last year. Well, now back onto the qualifying program. We'll try and run it again, hopefully with no interference. We're coming to the hairpin. We have a massive deep moment with lockup. We make it a little late, which obviously is not what we want in a practice qualifying lap, but we'll try and build up through the rest of the lap, try and get through, which we see already up by. See on the graph, actually brought it back quite a fair bit. We've come across the line with 5 tenths up, and it makes us finish in the pre-qualifying test in P7, which is definitely really high for us because this is quite good. We're on a really high level AI of about 100, so this is really good. So heading into qualifying now for the real deal. So obviously we're running for our first qualifying lap. We want to try and set a high bar if we can, hopefully try and push to the top 10. So try and push the car to a limit as much as we can. We've made some changes to the car, obviously, setup wise. We've come across the line for our first lap. We're actually in P13, which is not too bad of a qualifying lap. I just need to go now on for our final qualifying lap, the last one already. We're zooming quick past this because obviously we're not wasting no time or of your time, because we always know what goes around with this career mode in this game, so I think we're all knowledgeable enough to continue. But anyway, on our final lap, Max Verstappen goes quickest. We're about 6 tenths off from our best lap. We come across the line now, nearly a second. Where will that put us? That's top 10, which is just what we was aiming for, what I had in mind, because I want to try and put the car as high as I can. Max Verstappen goes on pole with Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari and Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari in P3, with Fernando Alonso just close behind. Also, I want to show some proof that obviously I am on the level that I am, just to show you, because obviously I feel like some people lie, and just want to show my proof. So now heading into our big F1 debut at the Australian Grand Prix. I am a little hesitant because obviously you see on screen it is raining, so the strategy is now all up in the air because I'm not sure what really to go for, what the team is really going to recommend me, obviously because my debut, and the team offers me a hard tyre start, which I wasn't too sure about. I was thinking about maybe starting on inters because of the rain, but I put my faith in the team and I'm going to follow through with it. You see that George Russell and Colapinto behind us is on intermediates, so we've got a really split grid of people who are starting on hards on the hard tyre. You see that Verstappen and Carlos Sainz out in front on the front row of the grid are on hard tyres, which makes it really interesting. As like Leclerc, Alonso, Norris, Piastri, everyone ahead of us, and Kimi Antonelli, also the other Mercedes on inters as well. So Mercedes going for a real dedicated strategy, sticking with the inters, thinking that is the best strategy possible. So now forming up to the grid for our first big F1 debut. It's been a lot in the making. Obviously the F2 season's come and gone, but now with 5 red lights are coming to the first ever race of this modded career mode, and we are going. It's a decent start for us. The Piastri bogs down Verstappen. We get past him. You see that both of the Mercedes out in front, already into first, which is massive. We send a little down inside of Alonso, a bit of contact, a little bit of a catch as there's absolutely no grip with these tyres. All the Inters running, you see both Colapinto, Lawson and the other racing bulls of Hadjar are now in front of me because they were behind me, and now they've got much better grip than us, obviously with the intermediate tyre being a much more dominant than of the hard tyre. So that means they get a lot more traction, a lot more power to the car and to the track. That means they're able to pull away a lot quicker than we are, and a lot of the runners. And we try several move on Lawson. We send it down the inside on the end of the first lap because we need to try and make as much moves, try and warm up our tyres because they are dead stone cold with this cold weather. Because obviously with the rain, it's going to make our tyres shot dead cold because compared to the Inters runners, it's going to be a lot harder to overtake. We now see we're in the slipstream of Lawson, pulls to the right hand side. Now we've got no DRS, just the help of the ERS, trying to go down the inside into turn 1. We're trying to get past Lawson. We're still side by side still with the help of the Inters. The traction is definitely going to help him now. He's a lot more power to the track. He's going to try and get the run on us if we can with the help of ERS on our aid. Try and get a little careful down into the hairpin because obviously we know we haven't got much grip compared to Lawson. He's still on our outside, still side by side with a little bit of a moment. He's still on our outside, into our inside now, making the corner. We're trying to square the move off now, which we finally do. We're trying to fight the car a lot, obviously with the wet weather on slick tyres. But you see now we're on board with Kimi Antonelli making an incredible start. Of the help of the Inters, Mercedes making that massive gamble. Him and George Russell go from 7th and 9th to about to 1st and 2nd, which is absolutely incredible. So that gamble going on to the Inters could pay off massively for us. So now heading on to the end of lap 2, going on to lap 3, a bit of an oversteer moment. I got Hadjar obviously onto the Inters, got definitely the better tyres on us right now with the weather. We're trying to be late on the brakes into turn 1. We're trying to hold it around the outside. Again, a little bit of a moment. We're trying to fight the car against the damp track. Obviously, with the aid of intermediates, Hadjar is able to get ahead of us. And we're trying to defend Piastri, and we actually sent a move down Hadjar, which definitely wasn't my intention at all, but we try and make the move stick. And we see, obviously, we're trying to make our move fine with the car against the wet track. Obviously, it's never going to work against intermediate tyres. Now, heading into the end of lap 3, trying to shake a move. You see that Hadjar trying to get past Alonso, who's on the hard tyre as well. And we're all on the back of Hadjar because it's been held up by Alonso. Obviously, with these tricky conditions, the 2-time world champion, and we try and make a move into the final sector if we can, which obviously I think was a little too ballsy from us. But now we're just trying to set ourselves up onto heading into lap 4, which we do nicely with the help of DRS and ERS. Pull alongside and get past. That's one of the easy moves I have to make on the race so far, obviously with the tricky conditions. Now heading into halfway into lap 4, we have a massive moment, a massive snap. We save it, which is great from us, but that means we're now being hunted by Alonso, who's now definitely setting up a move. He's getting the run on us. He's going to send it down the inside of us, going into the last sector on lap 4. Try and get a move. We have another massive moment. Again, obviously, it's still a wet track. You have to keep in mind. I see now that Liam Lawson and Colapinto, who are on intermediate tyres, have now pitted. And you see that now Kimi Antonelli, who was leading the race, is now pitted for dry tyres. Does that mean it is now the crossover point potentially? So now it's hammer time. Try and use all of our tyres, all the grip we can. Because now Alonso has made another pass back down into lap 5, which now we try and get it back on him on halfway through the lap. Try and use ERS and DRS. So go all the way round the outside into the flashy game, which we do nicely. You see that now the track is completely bone dry. Is now that George Russell is now in the pits, changing also for hard tyres. You see that Max Verstappen takes the lead, obviously with his Red Bull Ford car, and the two behind it, both the Ferraris of Leclerc and now Carlos Sainz in the Ferraris. As we've seen now, we're back on board. Was that Alonso trying to show a move with the DRS, going on to lap 6. Obviously, he's going to show another move, trying to be late on the brakes. We've got more traction and grip, so we can use all that to our advantage. Obviously, now with the tyres, trying to show what made of. It's now that on board Ollie Bem, he has a massive moment, another massive save if he can, but he doesn't. He puts it almost in the wall. Is now contact with one of the Saubers. It looks like you see from the replay. He has a massive snap of oversteer. I'm not sure what from. Too much happy on the throttle, as you see. As we're on board with Nico Hulkenberg, as he had nowhere to go, as the space where the racing line is was closed immediately by Ollie Bem with that massive mistake that he had. You see that Piastri storms past us, coming down almost into the final sector now, and we go a few laps later as that Piastri kind of storms away with about a second gap over us. Try and stay with Piastri as much as we can, and we have a massive moment, massive snap of oversteer. We save it, thankfully we do, without having a horrendous crash, because that could have been ending a lot worse than it could have. But thankfully that was just in for as we were pitting in this lap, so thankfully we can get rid of these tyres because they're definitely worn, as have you seen from that moment. We go on to the mediums now and try and see what we can do with these tyres. Try and make us some time as much as we can. Obviously, coming out of the pit is definitely one of the tightest and awkward pit exits on probably the whole calendar. Now we've got Pierre Gasly right behind us, right on our gearbox now, trying to set up a move. Obviously with the heated up hard tyres now, he's trying to make some moves, trying to go all the way around the outside, and we're still struggling for our new cold medium tyres. Obviously not getting used to the grip at all, because obviously cold tyres take a lot to heat up. But now we've got our medium tyres all heated up, ready to now overtake Pierre Gasly, which we do. We use our DRS to our full effect. We get overtake, move quickly undone. You see that both Mercedes out in front on their slick tyres now, are way ahead of everyone as that Inter's strategy paid off. I was now 2 laps later as we pass Piquet, now catching his teammate, passing Colapinto, trying to make all the way around the outside as these medium tyres are all up to temperature and they feel absolutely amazing. They feel got the grip to the full advantage. You see that now going back behind us, Liam Lawson, and you see that Oscar Piastri is still struggling, trying to make his way up since the start. He's not as made much positions as I thought. But half a lap later, he sets up a move. We use the power of the DRS, get the more dominant car in the McLaren, pass Liam Lawson to his full effect and his advantage. And now we see that also at the front, Max Verstappen goes all the way round the outside of Kimi Antonelli to go all the way up into second. He's behind us now. Also, you got Alonso and Colapinto are now fine position all the way for P11. So there's a lot of battles going on everywhere up and down the track. You see is now Colapinto got ahead of Alonso, and now he's right behind us. We're now trying to make a pass on Hadjar. Obviously, that now Leclerc is behind Lando Norris. You see, he's now had an engine failure, the first engine failure of the season in the first race. The engine not very good on reliability wise, and now Charles Leclerc is out of the race. And now we're set up a move on Hadjar, trying to go around the outside, but we're heading to the sector where Charles Leclerc had that engine failure. We get past him right before the yellow flag, so that's not a legal overtake. So we get that nice and done. You see Charles Leclerc on our right, we go past him. Now we set up a move on Liam Lawson, use the ERS, fake him to the inside, put him on the tyre line. We put lock up, try and make the move, go all the way around the outside, a little bit of oversteer, but we get the move done. So now that puts it up into P7 on this. Since this pit, so we're on a rampage where you see that Max Verstappen was on a rampage himself, trying to get onto first place. Into the final lap we go, that try and make a move on George Russell, but he doesn't get the move sticks. George Russell holds it round the outside of him, and now heading to the final lap, we get Russell versus Verstappen for the race win. But you didn't see that Verstappen now sets up a move around George Russell, go all the way round the outside of him, absolutely sending it round the outside of George Russell to make that move stick. An absolutely beautiful move by Verstappen as that seals him the race win for the first race of the season at Australia. Verstappen wins the Australian Grand Prix as George Russell seal comes through for a second, as Kimi Antonelli comes through for an amazing third on debut, and we come through for our debut in an amazing P7, a very strong P7, a very difficult start way to the start of the race. We'll come through a very solid P7 for the team as Max Verstappen wins, takes the glory from Mercedes from their amazing bold strategy from the start using Inters as he was on the hard tyre. As we see a very great comeback from Verstappen to come through from both through the Mercedes charging through, as Antonelli again on debut getting his first podium in his rookie season, his debut race, which is incredible. And that has been the Australian Grand Prix, our big debut in F1. Definitely a solid performance, a solid result that I'm happy with come through, and even better from Antonelli, our former F2 rival. But hopefully you've enjoyed the first episode, the first installment of this heavily modded F1 25 career mode. More will definitely be coming out soon as I'm editing this, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.